Okay, our next lesson is about taking those skills that we know about supplementary and complementary angles and applying it to specific triangles. Okay, so let's see what I'm talking about here. So pretty much you're going to get sick of triangles in the 7th and 8th grade because there's a lot of relationships within triangles. So here it's telling you that all three angles within a triangle add up to 180. That is called the angle sum of a triangle, or otherwise known as the angle sum theorem. So they lay out the names for the triangle for you, so you can refer to either the vertex, the side, or the angle. They show you how to label the sides, the vertices, and the angles if you forget how to do that. But in your notes at the bottom, I have a couple of steps that you can follow to make sure that you guys are successful for any tests that you might have in the future. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is to write the expression. Okay, so on your notes where it says write the expression, we just need to express all these angles, okay, adding up to 180 degrees, okay, just like they did up here. So I'm going to add 89 plus 54 plus x, and all that added up equals 180 degrees. Okay, so now your second step on your notes says to simplify. So I'm going to simplify as far as I can until I figure out what x is. So 89 plus 54 is 143. Bring down the x. So then the only thing left to do is subtract 143 on both sides in order to figure out what x is. So this is the solving part. And once you subtract 180 minus 143, you will get 37 degrees. So x up there is equal to 37 degrees. Okay, for these next couple of problems, we're going to identify the missing angle within the triangle by doing what we just did with the 3 steps. But there's going to be an additional part after we've done that, and that's we're going to name the triangle by the angle and also by the sides. Okay, so let's do number 1 first. We've got 74 plus 61 plus x equals 180. I'm going to simplify by adding 74 plus 61 first. That's going to get 135. The next step is to solve it. We're going to subtract 135 from 180 in order to figure out what x is. So that means x up here is only 45 degrees. Well, if we use the chart, okay, naming the triangle just by looking at the angles, we see that every single angle is less than 90 degrees. Well, that's called an acute triangle then. Okay. Next, we're going to look at all the sides. So if all the angles are different, then all of the sides will be different. And this is how that would look. So with all the sides being different, they're not congruent, then therefore it's also a scaling. Okay. So naming this triangle would be acute and scaling. So number two, you don't need to do any work. I mean, you can if you want to, but it would be kind of pointless. So this is where definitions come in handy. So if we look at the sides first, okay, going up to the graph, we can see that if all sides are congruent, then that's going to be an equilateral triangle. So if you know it's an equilateral triangle, then you also know that all the angles within an equilateral triangle will be also the same. So therefore x is going to be 60. And then 60 degrees is all less than 90 degrees, which also makes it an acute triangle. Number 3, so because of this obvious right angle right there, our name of our triangle is going to be a right triangle. Okay, but our other name, we actually have to figure that out to see Well, first off, we see that two sides are congruent. So looking up at our chart, the one that has two sides congruent is called isosceles. And now let's go ahead and find the value of x. So we've got 45 plus 90 plus x is 180. Simplify the 45 and 90, that's 135. And I already know from doing number 1 that 180 minus 135 is 45 degrees. So this angle right here is 45. Notice on an isosceles triangle, when you have two sides congruent, you will have two angles at the same sides. It's hard to explain. So the side that is congruent will also have congruent angles. It sounds weird. Okay, moving on. All right, so go ahead, find the third interior angle within these triangles and classify the triangles once you have done once you're done with that. So pause your screen and then can push play when you're ready for the answers. Okay, check your answers. Pause your screen, check your answers. Make sure you write down and correct any mistakes that you might have. Make sure you show all of your work on your notes too, so you can understand what high quality work looks like in order to be successful on any future activities, documents, tests, quizzes, whatever. All right, on this slide, we're learning about the exterior angles of the triangle. So we know from our previous lesson that 180 degrees makes a straight line. So angle 1 and angle 4, okay, makes that straight line. So that's why over here, it shows you that if you add angle 4 and angle 1, you get 180 degrees. Same thing goes with angle 3 and 5. They make a straight line. Angle 2 and 6, they make a straight line. So with this in mind, we can actually do 18, 19, 20, and 21. So let me do the first one with you. If I take 180 minus 118 to find this angle, okay, then I will be able to use the interior angle sum theory to find the value of x. Okay, so first off, I'm going to use my calculator to figure out what 180 minus 118 is, and that ends up being 62. Okay, so now do what we already did by adding 62. Well, let's go ahead and write the equation. So we've got 62 plus 25 plus x equals 180. 62 plus 25 gets you 87. Go ahead and solve by subtracting 87. X equals 93 degrees. So x right here is 93 degrees, and that's answering the question for finding the value of x. Okay, go ahead and start on number 19. I'm going to do it on the video, so let your video resume play. If you want to follow along with me, I'm just going to work and I'm not going to talk. Okay, so go ahead and pause your screen now and do 20 and 21 by yourselves, and then push play when you're ready to get the answers. Okay, go ahead and check your answers. I know numbers 20 and 21 were a bit tricky. But if you just use the same concepts that we've learned already, it's pretty much the same deal, okay? Combining like terms. You're just finding x. They didn't ask you to find the value of the angle, but I went ahead and did that anyway. Finish checking your answers, then move on. Okay, so here is the ratio part of our chapter that we sort of skipped around because your book goes in a weird order. Therefore, this is right. I'm just covering this right now. So when it gives you a ratio for your triangle, all you're going to do is put x with those numbers and add them all up, like so. Okay, so it's still going to be 180 degrees as your total because we're still talking about a triangle. Okay, so basically you have 1x plus 3x plus 8x, and those numbers, okay, the 1, the 3, and the 8 came from that ratio. So basically what they did is they added 1x plus 3x plus 8x. So that's 12x. And then all you have to do now is divide by 12. And you end up finding that x is a value of 15. So x is 15, and you can use that value to figure out what the angles are. So one angle is 15 degrees. The other angle is 3 times 15, which is 45 degrees. The other angle is 8 times 15, which is 120 degrees. Okay, so it's pretty much like the same concept that we just got done doing with interior angle sum theory and exterior angle sum, the exterior part. However, we are only dealing with ratios and words here. So let's do number 4 together, and then you can do 12 and 13 on your own. So I have 2, 3, and 5. So that is 2x plus 3x plus 5x equals 180. So 2 plus 3 plus 5, that's 10x. So since x equals 18, the only thing that we're going to do now is take 2 times 18 to figure out the first angle, 3 times 18 to figure out the next angle, and 5 times 18 to figure out the third angle. 2 times 18 is 36. 3 times 18 is 54. 5 times 18 is 90. Now to double check, you can add those 3 up to make sure you get 180 degrees. So 36 plus 54 plus 90, well, what do you know? 180 degrees. Okay, so this is x, and these are the angles. Okay, go ahead and try to do 12 and 13 on your own. Pause your video, push play when you're ready for the answers. Okay, go ahead and pause the video now and check your answers. Make sure you correct any mistakes that you might have. If you have any questions, just let me know.